And just to give you guys some feedback, Craig, some of the things that the agents on the call want to kind of hear about more and more that I'm kind of going through some of their feedback are, you know, what are some options that are being used in today? How do you get a seller to sell during COVID? Of course, how to get more listings. Here on Oahu, the median days on the market went from 22 days down to 14 just for single family residents. To my understanding, listings are far and few in between. So obtaining a new listing in this market would be probably, based on the feedback that I'm hearing, the number one thing that they want to hear about. And when I read about Craig's background, I did see a big highlight where he is known for doing coaching people in obtaining 90 listings in 90 days. So let's dive right in and allow Katie to do an awesome introduction for Craig. And again, we're very happy to partner with you folks. And we hope that everybody obtains a lot of valuable information out of today's call.
Thank you so much, Lisa. We're so excited to be here, you guys. We want to actually just jump into this. Craig's going to do a little bit about his background, but this setup is meant for a really high-level conversation. Craig is going to talk really fast, and we want to be able to, you know, you guys, we want you to feel comfortable to ask questions, to interject. Like, we are here for you. So Lisa wanted to bring the best of the best, so we got you Craig Rieger. So Craig, take it away.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure. Well, first off, thank you, Fidelity National Title. Thank you, Lisa, for being amazing. Lisa was referred to RCC coaching by a really good friend of mine here in Portland, Oregon, Denise Wilson, who's very advanced in the Fidelity National Title company. So, and she's been awesome, and I've got to meet her team. They're amazing. And I'm excited to spend the next 54 minutes with all of you. Really quick background on me. Been in real estate like 23, 24 years now. I do have a team. I'm still in production. I have a listing that hit the market yesterday that had 17 showings last night. So although I'm a coach and I run a team and I have a coaching company, I'm a brokerage, I think it's really important to share, like, I'm in production. I work very closely with my team. And the info that we're going to go with you today is it's hands-on. Like, I'm not a guy that sold real estate 11 years ago and then said, okay, let's talk about that. Like, we're all dealing with the same stuff, pandemics. We had wildfires. I'm based in Portland, Oregon last year that shut us down for 2 weeks. Zero inventory, multiple offers, hiring, firing, retention, profitability. I mean, you guys name it. That's what I work with every day with my own business and with the people that we coach. Yeah, and I guess the only other thing to share is I've owned a bunch of real estate brokerages. At one point, a year and a half ago, I had just over 1,000 agents working at those brokerages, and we're closing about $2.5 billion a year. And I sold all those companies, and they were very profitable. And I sold them a year ago, May. It'll be 2 years this May. And I sold them because coaching is my passion. And as much as I loved having 1,000 agents work for my companies, there's just over 1.4 million agents throughout the United States. And I want to have a bigger pool of people to touch and help and work with than 1,000. And as Lisa shared, I do have some experience on the islands. At one point in the past, I'm no longer affiliated with them. I was involved with the Keller Williams brand, and I was a regional director, and I was working closely with people like Rustin and Shar Tong. I actually
find their names, didn't you?
Tongue twister. Well, I coached them personally. It was Shar's birthday yesterday, and they seem like very nice people. So some of you probably know them. So without further ado, let's get started. I can see about 1/3 of your faces. We've got 52 minutes left. Don't be shy. This is interactive. Ask questions, interrupt. There's a chat box that Miss Katie is going to be monitoring. Katie is my business partner for the last 9 years. And so you can put questions in there, you can chat, or you can just unmute yourself and shout something out. This is for you guys. And I get it. You know, it's you're freaking busy. We're in a new year. There's no inventory. There's still a worldwide pandemic. There's been elections. Like, it's just craziness out there. And my point to bring all of that up is for you to take 1 hour out of your day to potentially get some knowledge, some resources, hopefully some inspiration. that will hopefully help you be more successful tomorrow, that's actually a really big deal. I respect you taking that hour, and I want to give you value. And to give you the most value, you might want to interact. Looks like Patrick went to one of my classes in Honolulu. So how's it going, Patrick? All right. I heard you loud and clear, Lisa. Listings is the name of the game. We will hit on that heavily. And I have prepared a little PowerPoint that I might camp on for the next 20 or so minutes that I think could help us out. Although,
while he's pulling that
I love
up,
that book. I see that book. Good to great. I read that.
awesome book. Awesome book. What do you got, Katie?
while you're pulling this up, do you guys want to just break the ice? I want to make sure you guys can use the chat box and feel comfortable asking questions. So why don't you type in your favorite shrimp truck, since we're working with Oahu. So type in your favorite, where you get your favorite fried shrimp, and just make sure that we can see that you guys can work that. So even if it's just where on the island.
All right, let's rock and roll. Good job, Katie. Phenomenal book. If you haven't read it, I highly encourage it. Good to Great by Jim Collins. This has been my mantra for all of my businesses and the people I coach for nearly a year now. Greatness, sorry, I've got to move the screen. Greatness is not a function of circumstance. Katie, make sure you hit that record button. Greatness is not a function of circumstance. Greatness, it turns out, is largely a matter of conscious choice and discipline. Ladies and gentlemen, will you agree we've had a lot of circumstances in the world? Pandemics, elections, people we know are sick, people we know maybe in the hotel industry have lost jobs. Like, the circumstances of the last year are unprecedented in my 47 years on this planet, and certainly my 25 years in real estate. And here's a reality to it. Like, Jim wrote this book long before there was a worldwide pandemic. We all have circumstances. We get sick, we have people pass away. Unfortunately, there is divorces and separations, there is job transfers. Circumstances just on a daily basis might be, we've got a really great transaction and then we get a low appraisal that shows up. Well, that low appraisal, I don't know if you react like I do as a listing agent, but that low appraisal can consume my day. And in many cases, many of my days. There's so many circumstances that come at us. And Jim reminds us is circumstances don't affect our greatness. It's our conscious choice and our discipline. So I wanted to start today with this slide as we're 20-something days into a new year. What's our conscious choice? We have a conscious choice. There are still listings being taken every single day on the islands. Are you getting your unfair share? Because that would be my conscious choice if I lived on Oahu. And don't get me wrong, I would love to live on Oahu, or at least visit it more frequently. I would have a conscious choice every single day to do certain activities, even if I didn't want to do them. I would have a conscious choice to put aside other things that are coming at me. And those might be good or bad things, right? Because circumstances are good or bad that come at us. I had a leader that I was in business with for a long period of time, and she called them snipers. She's like, Craig, I get up in the morning. I've got a great schedule in front of me. I've got big goals and big plans of what I'm going to accomplish. And she goes, I feel like there's people on the rooftop with sniper guns and they're sniping me. And she goes, I don't know when they're going to attack, but almost every single day I get out of bed, there's snipers attacking me. And they throw me off my groove. And she goes, my goal to reach all of my goals is to avoid those snipers and to hunker down and do the one or two things that I really need to accomplish that will lead to me reaching my bigger and long-term goals. And as Lisa clearly described, for many of you, if not all of us, coast to coast, Hawaii included, is getting listings. And that's a conscious choice. What efforts, what activities will I do? And then the discipline comes into it, which is when those snipers attack us and the world comes at us, good or bad, and there's things infiltrating our happy day. The discipline is not getting off topic, not getting out of place, and continuing to do the right activities that we know we should be doing that will allow us to outlist our competitors. It really comes down to that. And my slide is frozen, which is fabulous. I love technology. All right, I'm going to run through this. This is the basis of all of our coaching, and this will equate back to listings, Lisa and team, I promise. This is something that is the fundamental core value here at RCC coaching. I wish they taught this in real estate school. They don't, and they never will. But I think this is something, and I know you guys are the best of the best. Fidelity National Title was very clear, like, hey, Craig, we're bringing on our top agents. Let's have top agent conversations. And this might seem a little bit elementary, but my hope is by the end of this next few minutes, you'll be like, okay, I gleaned something from that. Every one of you is the CEO of your business. Do I work for ABC Realty or CBS Realty? Do I buy Zillow leads? Do I start a farm? Do I send touches to my database? Do I sleep in the morning? Do I join Craig Rieger and Fidelity National Title for 1 hour today? You recognize that only a CEO can make those decisions. That is one role that every one of us has in real estate, whether we like it or not. The next role, which is hands down my most favorite role in real estate, is being the listing agent, right? Like there is a very different pay scale, ladies and gentlemen, between being a listing agent and opening an escrow. There's a very different pay scale, Katie, of you inviting me over to your high-rise condo tonight and we sign listing contracts for me to sell your condo versus me driving back to my office and inputting it into the multiple listing or making flyers or calling stagers. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
I call the listing agent at RCC, I call it being the surgeon. And I've never been a surgeon. I've unfortunately been through a couple of surgeries. I've unfortunately had close family members go through some surgeries. And I just have to guess from those experiences that the surgeon's not the one that went into the room and sanitized it. The surgeon is not the one that after the surgery was completed, cleaned everything up and washed the sheets. And I'm not saying those aren't incredibly important roles in the hospital, but the surgeon came in with one critical mission. It's like do surgery, remove that tumor, save this person's life, help them feel better. And after surgery, the surgeon went back down the hallway and either rested for a few minutes, made some rounds, checked on some patients, or possibly went and did another surgery. In our businesses, ladies and gentlemen, the surgeon in real estate, the highest paid role in real estate, the most important role in real estate is being a listing agent. So if we look at Oahu, and I've got the screen kind of shrank right now, but Lisa, if you're on right now and I just focus on Oahu, what would you say the average sales price in Oahu is in today's market? Is it 800? Is it $1,000,001? I realize there's different areas of Oahu, but if we just gave it a general number, what's the average sales price in Oahu?
Nope. Are you muted? No, she's not muted.
Anybody want to type it in or unmute and shout it out?
800, 550.
All right, I'm going to do 700 for round numbers.
Nice.
Could we agree at 700,000, the average commission is upwards of 15,000, maybe more? Let's just agree on that. At 700,000, the average listing commission for round numbers, we'll call 15K. Katie, if I work in Oahu or one of the surrounding islands, because I know we've got some groups from around today, and you invite me over to your house tonight, you've got a 750 listing. How long is a typical listing appointment in most markets we coach in?
Typically, we see it takes about an hour to do a listing appointment.
Sometimes 45 minutes, sometimes 2 hours, but let's call it on the safe side. Let's just say it's about an hour. There's some prep work and things, of course, I need to do before I get there, but from walking your door to walking out, let's call it about an hour and 15 minutes.
Yep.
Katie, if you hire me tonight and you sign listing contracts with me, or maybe I meet with you tonight and then tomorrow morning I DocuSign the contracts to you and I spend an hour with you, in the market we're in, your house is going to sell and it's going to sell very quickly. Would you agree with that?
I believe so, yes.
So when I consider the listing person is the surgeon, I'll be really clear of the $15,000 commission that I'm going to glean from the listing side. I'm going to say that I earned half of that by you signing with me tonight. There's no other commission to be had. If you don't sign with me, nothing else happens. That is the surgery part, is getting that listing signed. So if that's an hour-long appointment, I want us to all focus on, I just made $7,500 an hour. And I'm not saying, and trust me guys, I take listings every day. I've been doing this a long time. I understand there's a tremendous amount of work to do after that listing is signed. But the reality is none of that work matters unless I got the listing signed tonight. So that's worth half my commission. So I just made $7,500 an hour. And then I drive back to my office, or maybe in COVID, I drive back to my home office and I call the stager, or maybe they're doing a pre-inspection, or maybe, right, every company on the planet, and we coach with all companies, makes you turn in paperwork to the brokerage. And I start doing those activities. What is that worth an hour, Katie?
Well, now we're looking at admin roles, so anywhere from $15 to $25.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a higher price market, so maybe it's even $20 to $35 an hour.
Yeah.
Right, that's what we call being the nurse. And I'm not saying on today's hour with you guys, you got to start a team. I didn't, by no way, shape, or form. If you don't want to be on a team or start a team, don't start one. But the purpose of this org chart is to get very, very clear of what is your dollar hour return. And this is why I wish they taught this in real estate school, because at the end of the day, Katie, you can go and take a listing in Oahu and make $7,500 an hour. And then you go back and spend 11 hours worth of work calling stagers, turning in paperwork, making flyers, entering it to the multiple listing, and you're working for $25 an hour. And that's not good or bad. But when I've got agents I'm coaching, they're like, Craig, I need to get more listings. I'm like, well, dude, maybe you need to stop turning in paperwork and pay somebody $18 an hour to do that. And maybe that will free you up to have more time to go and take listings. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not good or bad, but just a reality. I mean, so often in this business, we go home exhausted and I'm too tired to play with my kids and I'm just beat down and worn out. When I look back on my activities, I'm like, did I sell a home today? Nope. Did I take a listing today? Nope. Did I do any activities that put me in a great position to sell or list a house tomorrow? Nope. Well, what did I do? What I did is I was living in the nurse role. I was living in that admin role. And please know that nurses are incredibly important. My daughter had a pretty severe surgery a few years ago. The doctor saved her life, and for 5 days we were in the hospital. I was on a cot right next to her. The nurses came in, without exaggeration, every hour on the hour taking care of my daughter. Amazing service. The doctor was awesome as well. She came in once or twice a day, and she looked at the chart. She asked us questions. She told us what to expect next. But it was the nurses that took care of us through that process. And I only point this out is to make sure, as we're sitting here on January 21st, what activities are we doing that we like doing the most? Because most people in real estate would prefer to sign listing contracts than to make flyers. And are we focusing or time blocking or ensuring for a number of hours each day or a number of minutes each day that we're focused in the right place? So when Lisa says, Craig, they want to talk about getting listings, and I promise we're talking about that right now. Part of getting listings is being clear of where you're spending your time. What's your dollar hour return on that? And then there's two other roles. There's the buyer's agent role. I think being a buyer's agent, and a buyer's agent is winning in a multiple offer situation. A buyer's agent is overcoming nasty home inspection. The buyer's agent, a different market, when you can negotiate all values, is doing a great job getting a seller down on price on behalf of your buyer. A buyer's agent, I would say, is worth $500 to $1,000 an hour. And I'd say opening doors, that's called a showing agent at a really high level. Opening doors is probably worth $50 or $100 an hour. So be clear of what your roles are and what your dollar hour activity is. And if you're doing all 5 of these roles, which is why this org chart says me, that's great. But the reason I point this out is, did you spend time today? Did you spend time yesterday on Wednesday being a listing agent, looking for listings, scheduling listing appointments, calling your clients that you sold houses to 4 years ago? Ring, ring, Katie.
Hello.
Katie, I've got amazing news.
Oh, okay.
It's Craig Rieger, by the way, with XYZ Realty. I've got amazing news. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Katie, your property has probably gone up $60,000 to $200,000 in the last 5 years.
Wow.
In my market, that's a reality. And here's what's crazy: of the 200,000 you might have gone up, 100,000 of it was in the last 7 months during a pandemic.
Wow.
I just wanted to give you a good news call and say congratulations on buying this house from me 5 years ago. You have made a fortune.
Let's sell this sucker. I want that cash.
Perfect. Or do you want to refinance it, pull some cash out, and buy an investment property on the mainland? Like, do you like? It just opens up a conversation, right? Like that is where I need to spend my time, not necessarily turning paperwork into my brokerage. All right, next slide. Then we'll get to some Q&A. Oh, and if you ever want to hire somebody to do some of these activities, that's easy. Well, admin, instead of being me, who can I fill in this slot to do that paperwork for me? Showing agent. And I'm very, very obsessed with the showing agent role, because what I like about showing agents is I'm still the lead agent. Katie, you're my showing agent. Your job is to open doors at a really high level. Your job is to give amazing customer service. And I tell the clients this. But Katie, let's be clear. I'm the agent of the client, not you. When they find a house they like, I write the offer. When they find a house they like, I negotiate with the listing agent. When they find a house they like, I drive over and see it, and I apprise them up to where they should offer to win in this competitive market. But you understand, if I could take showings off my plate and still be the agent that does the surgery work, I've created major balance back in my business, but I still get to control the transaction.
And you know,
Go ahead.
There's a lot of conversation usually when we start talking about showing agents. So before, if that becomes a topic, do you guys mind typing in like if you're a solo agent or if there's you and how many other people licensed on your team? So if you have like 3 licensed agents, we just type in 3 licensed and then or solo.
I think one of our final slides, and I'll take off the PowerPoint, we'll just kind of move into the second half hour being Q&A and just free rolling, is more so than ever, A, B, and C leads, right? And I know you guys are C's and you're like, Craig, come on, A, B, and C leads. We've been doing this for 15 years. Just want to give you a different take on it. You know, we've heard what's an A. Well, they're motivated. An A wants to buy in the next 30 days. Here's the reality in the market we're in. Just because you want to buy in the next 30 days doesn't mean you'll be successful. There's no inventory. And then when you find the property you like, there might be 4 other offers. And no matter how strong you are, you might get beat out. So just because you're an A doesn't mean you're going to successfully buy right now. Here's my definition. If here's RCC's definition of an A, they take your advice. An A takes your advice. And that's not always happy news. Like, Katie, I know you love this property. It's listed at $700,000. I just talked to the agent. There's 2 offers in. They expect 2 more. I've done some research on it. And I think if you've got any chance of getting it, Katie, you got to pay $740.
Okay. Let's do 740 then.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good, but an A will take your advice. They're very, very motivated by a property. Here's what a B would say, Katie, I know it's at 700,000. There's 2 offers in. It's been on the market for 36 hours. As Lisa just shared with us, inventory is less than 2 weeks right now. The market, who would have thunk in a pandemic, is insane. And if you have any chance of getting this property, I think you got to offer 35 or 40 above. What do you want to do?
No, let's do 650. And if it works, it works.
You want to come in under asking?
Yep. 50,000 too.
Wow. Or, you know, realistically in this market, you might just say full price.
Right.
And here's what a B says. Well, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If it works out, great. By the way, Bs are amazing human beings. I love them very much. But in this type of market, to me, the biggest burnout in real estate, period, is working with people that are not motivated. Here's what happens when we work with Bs and Cs. We go home from work, we tell our spouse or our partner, our cat, whoever listens to us, like, I cannot believe they only offered full price. I told them that property was going to go at 25 over asking. I cannot believe they offered it full price. And we're complaining to our spouse. Here's the reality check. We should be upset with ourselves because we're giving an A level of service to a B or C motivation. And why do we work with Bs and Cs? Why do we spend time with Bs and Cs? Is the biggest burnout in this industry. The reason we spend time with Bs and Cs is because we're not disciplined in our activities to find A, Bs, and Cs. By the way, there's no club A. If there was on Oahu, I would have been at it by now. I've been there many times. There's no club where all the A's hang out. And the only way to find A clients, both buyers and sellers, is every single day for some period of time, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour, is to look for A, Bs, and Cs. And the Bs and Cs you simply put into a database and you stay in great communication with them. And the A's you go and show properties to, or you put a sign up in their yard. But so often in this business, and even mega producers like yourselves, we get trapped working with a B or C, and then we invest so much time into them. We're like, geez, I can't stop working with them now because I've shown them 19 condos. And it just becomes like, I see people smiling, Beth, like, you know, I'm right. We've all done this. And it's just because we're not disciplined in looking for A, Bs, and Cs every day. So, you know, it's work the database. You know, what's the stat, Katie? Here's a stat on this. It's 9 out of 10 people that NAR interviewed said, I have a great experience. I'd use my agent again. 9 out of 10. I'd say as an industry, we're doing really well. Does anybody know what percentage of consumers actually use the same agent for their second transaction?
Around 12%.
Yeah, it drops down to about 10 to 17% year by year. How do we go from 9 out of 10 people, and if you think of the stresses of buying a home between appraisals, home inspections, buyer's remorse, financing contingencies, Lisa, and we know Fidelity Title, Fidelity National Title is amazing, but not all title companies are amazing. There can be stresses there. 9 out of 10 people, after all of those stresses, had a great experience. I'd use my agent again. And then we go down to 1 out of 10 on a national average use the same agent. What happened? How do we go from 9 out of 10 to 1 out of 10?
People are not working their database. They forgot about them.
We don't stay in touch. It's literally that simple. As an industry, we're really, really, really bad about staying in touch with people. And I think of the sacrifices we make. I've got a 17 and a 15-year-old, and although there's no sports right now because of a worldwide pandemic, when there was sports, how many times I missed my daughter's soccer game because I had a buyer that wanted to see a house for a second time and write an offer. I mean, would you guys agree we make some pretty substantial sacrifices for our clients? And we push them through this amazing, and we give this incredible service. And as an industry, we're really, really weak about staying in touch with them. Most agents that I coach, even mega producing agents, are not fulfilling their business to the extent they have the ability to, and they're not reaching their goals for one single reason: they don't have a database and they don't use it every single day. And there's some of you that might type in the chat box like, well, what database do you use, Craig? And you know what, they're all fine. Just there's one commonality with the most successful agents on the planet that we've interviewed and coached with. They have a database and they use it every single day. They put info in, they put reminders in, and they consistently reach out to people. And I don't necessarily mean these quarterly phone calls, those are brilliant. For the vast majority of even the top agents in the country, if you just had a database set up of all your clients, family, friends, and past clients, as well as leads, those B's and C's, and you sent out 2 touches a month, apprising them of the market you're in, letting them know what's happening with interest rates, letting them know that there's 2 weeks of inventory. If you sent that out, I guarantee you would sell more homes this year than last year if you did just twice a month. And we're living this. My team sent out a touch 3 days ago to our database, and we said the same thing. We're not at 2 weeks of inventory, Lisa. Our market's at 23 days. We sent that touch out to our database 3 days ago. The next morning, 3 of my past clients reached back out via email and said, hey, thanks for sending that. We're seriously considering selling our home. Can you have somebody contact me? So you guys want to talk about getting listings? I guess the first thing I got to ask you is, what's your communication look like with your database? Are you reaching out to them on a consistent basis?
And let's go back to that org chart. You know, that we've got a handful of people that are solo agents here, and we're not pushing for you to have this massive team.
No.
We just want to identify where are you spending your time and where are, you know, what is the most cost productive hour for you. And if you look at, you know, going back to the org chart, Craig's pulling that up for you guys. If you're a solo agent, you do not have time, nor do you probably want to manage your database. Your database is the answer, especially right now. You guys are in lockdown. You're barely getting tourists right now. You have to rely on working on talking and communicating with each other and the people that you know there. And you can only do so much going out and about. So you need someone who can sit at a desk all day long and do the thing that your brain probably isn't programmed to do, which is data entry and following up and writing newsletters and sending that out on a consistent basis. And if you want to do that, that's great. But again, that dollar per hour, it's around $25, $30. So again, we're not talking about go start this massive team. We just want to make sure that you're consistently in front of the people that know, love, and trust you and want to send you business on a really high level so that you can go get that piece of business so that you're top of mind.
Well, Katie, what I would add to that, and I'm a very aggressive coach and I'm a very kind and loving coach. But in the aggressiveness, what I'd say is most agents around the country, for lack of a better expression, their databases suck. And the reason their databases suck is because, can you see my mouse here, Katie? Is that they are very bad admin of their own company. And right, there's certain admin work you have to do, like send escrow the paperwork. There's certain admin you have to do, like turn it into your brokerage. There's certain admin, even if you've got a person at your brokerage that will input the listing for you, you've got admin work to get it from yourself to that person. And most of us in real estate will do that admin work, but the admin work we won't do is service our database. And that's a clarity standpoint, is that servicing a database is not a surgeon job, it's a nurse job. Setting up a database is a nurse job. Sending out a touch every 15 days to the database, apprising them of 14 days of inventory, of a hot new listing, of a cool restaurant that's somehow thriving in a pandemic in your local market. That is admin work. And the reason that most real estate agents either don't have a database or they have one that they're not using more than 20% of what they should be is because they don't want to be the admin of their own company. I mean, you get that, right? Like, people don't go into real estate being like, oh, I'm so excited to be the admin of my company. That's why I did this, Craig. I love being the admin. I'm like, no, we go into real estate because we love homes, we love people, we love negotiating, we love the flexibility of being self-employed. Those are the reasons we go into real estate. I've yet to interview a mega producing agent that says, I went into real estate because I love being the admin. And because of that, most mega producers are struggling at some point because they're not having touches go out to their database, or what we like to call here RCC coaching, or data bank. If we put contacts into our data bank, and then we reach out to them in some capacity, snail mail, email, pop buys, client events when the world allows outside of COVID, and we stay in touch with them, like a bank, it gives us a return. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Patrick's hilarious. Let's also go back to now looking at it from a team perspective. If you already do have a team, and I want to challenge what your admin is doing for you. Let's go back to that analogy that if this was your surgeon, this is your hospital ward. How many nurses, you know, their main jobs to take pressure, check your pulse, make sure that you input it work, and take your temperature. If you had a nurse that was hired and they said, I don't feel like taking your temperature today, what would that surgeon say? Sorry.
They said, you're a lovely human being, but you're in the wrong industry.
Right. There are such clear standards for that job, right? We all know, and by the way, even as a patient, I understand that has to be done no matter what. Now, I would question for team owners, what is your admin doing or not doing that you've taken back being in the surgeon role? Are you inputting listings? Do you sometimes drive across town to put up a lockbox? Do you sometimes make a list and make a flyer or do an edit for something? I would question to go back to your standards and really go back to your daily habits and put a check mark saying, am I doing this? Who should be doing this? And where's $1 per hour activity for that activity? Because if you're going through and saying, well, today I spent 2 hours doing X, Y, Z, and that shouldn't be you, and your admin's not doing it for you, let's look at priorities here. I mean, number one, foremost, your database should be the pulse of the company, and that should be being handled by the admin. So that's their number one thing, and everything else is all the other things you don't want to do, like inputting and running around. But that is their number one job, is to grow that. Just like with a nurse, is to take care of the patient no matter what. So
I think that's what we see, Katie. For people that start teams, they'll often hire a transaction coordinator.
Yep.
I'm like, that's rad, right? So you don't have to turn in the paperwork. You don't have to reach out to Lisa and her amazing team when you open escrow. You're paying someone to do that for you. You're paying somebody to bug the lender. The mistake that I see with that is that's servicing a piece of business that you've already have 80% completed. And don't get me wrong, having somebody service it is incredible. What I focus on through our coaching is, what 4 pieces of business are you leaving on the table? Because you're calling them a transaction coordinator instead of an executive and assistant. And the executive assistant could service that transaction, but they could also make sure 2 touches a month go out to your database. Because that's what I know with certainty is I've never seen a realtor on the planet that has a database of more than 200-300 people that if we send 2 touches a month to, they don't get business from it every single month. Just immediate replies every single month. And we get so hung up on it, and there's certain companies out there, I won't name them by name, they're like, you've got to lead gen for 3 hours a day. Let's call it like it is. Most of us are not going to lead gen for 3 minutes a day, let alone 3 hours a day. Am I right or am I wrong? I think I'm right.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you should be calling your past clients. Please know that I agree we should call our past clients. But this lead gen for 3 hours a day, like, what fantasy island are you living on? Because I'm on Oahu. But there is the other side of it. And that side of it is, why don't we just send out 2 smart emails a month? Just 2 smart emails a month to our clients, family, friends, and past clients. And I'm not talking recipe cards. I'm talking local information happening in your market. And if you do that, you will sell on average 12 to 25 more homes this year than you sold last year.
I'm sorry.
Now, obviously, you need to have
write that down. What?
Yeah. If you're going to call past clients, so here's a great script for getting listings. Ring, ring, Katie.
Hello.
Hey, Katie, it's Craig Rieger with ABC Realty. How the heck are you?
I'm doing good. What can I do for you, Craig?
Good. Well, concerning a pandemic, I'm glad to know you're well. Katie, I just wanted to touch base with you. It's always warm here in Oahu, but it's going to keep getting hotter. And I just negotiated an amazing deal with ABC Cooling. So ABC Cooling normally charges $200 to do the air conditioning tune-up and those things. And they're gonna give $50 off to anyone that mentions my name. Would that be helpful for you?
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Awesome. Well, I love supporting local businesses. Let me send that over for you. Hey, while I've got you and you're looking ahead at 2021, do you have any plans to relocate, buy a bigger property, or sell or buy an investment property?
No, I think I'm good for right now.
All right, you're amazing. I'll email you over that coupon. I hope you guys have a great early spring coming up. And if I could do anything for you or think of anybody that needs to buy or sell, let me know.
Awesome. All right. Thanks.
My favorite script, Lisa, is I always give something away. You know, ring, ring, Katie.
Hello.
Hey, Katie, I just negotiated a great deal with a local dog grooming company or boarding company called Bark Zone. And they've agreed to do 1 day of free boarding if you've got a puppy at no charge if you mention my name. Would that be of help to you?
You know, I actually don't have a dog.
Oh my gosh, do you have any friends or sisters or anybody that has a dog?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
All right, let me shoot that over to you. Bark Zone's amazing. I actually just sold the owner a house. 1 day of free boarding can come in handy for anybody you know. And while I've got you, do you have any plans this year to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate?
Yeah, we're looking to invest again, get another rental.
Awesome. Well, why don't I send you over this coupon and I'll send you an email or a text afterwards. And why don't we get it on the books in the next week to maybe get a 30-minute meeting and talk about that rental you want?
Fantastic. Thank you, Craig.
So Lisa, every time that if I'm gonna actually call my database, I'm gonna give them something of value, right? It rains a lot here in Oregon. So I'm gonna give them gutter cleaning in fall when the leaves fall off the tree. It gets cold here in Oregon, unlike Hawaii. So I'm gonna give them a heating, an HVAC company for servicing their furnace in November. It actually gets warm for like 75 days a year here in Portland between about June and September. So during that time of year, I'm gonna call them and give them a coupon for air conditioning tune-ups. So I will, and by the way, you guys are all in real estate. You know a handyman, you know an AC company, like, you know, you might have bugs in Hawaii, so you might have somebody that can do annual pest extermination. You've got all of these people in your Rolodex. It's so easy. So if I'm calling up one of my suppliers, ring, ring, Katie.
Hello.
Hey, Katie, you're my favorite bug extermination company. It's Craig Rieger. How are you?
Doing good, Craig. What's up?
Katie, I've got a database of about 900 people here on Oahu, and I love giving them value, and I also love promoting local small businesses. Would you be okay with me promoting your company to my database?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Right on. What do you guys charge to do an extermination on the outside of a house for bugs?
$300.
Great. Would you give any type of coupon to any of my clients?
Yeah, I would do like 25% off.
25% off. I think that's like $50. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna make the coupon. All my staff make it. They'll send you a copy. And I'm gonna send it to all my clients. I hope that brings you a lot of business.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Craig.
So these are not easy to put together. And you ask about getting listings. This is a great.
Not hard to put together.
What's that?
Not hard to put together. Or
No, sorry, not hard. I'm so excited. These are not hard things to do, but most of you won't be brave enough to make these phone calls, and I'm okay with that. So let's go back to where we started. Do you have a database and you email people twice a month, apprising them of your local market? If you just start there, I will bet that we added 10 closings to your business this year. And at the price points you're playing in, 10 closings could be $150,000, $200,000. That's pretty rad, isn't it? Other places to get listings, because I promised Lisa I would talk about it. And by the way, like, you guys are being a very quiet group, which means I'm boring you or you're going internal, but you're definitely, please interrupt me or type in questions. Patrick, you're crushing it, buddy. We appreciate your input on the chat. I've seen a couple. Other places to get listings that are more aggressive. Obviously, we know about FSBOs.
Can we do the letter?
Yeah, let's do the letter.
The letter.
I'll do that in 1 second. We know about expireds. I like doing old expireds. Lisa, you just had to guess, how much has the average property gone up in Honolulu? Right, if a house is worth 700 today, what do you think it was worth 2 years ago in Honolulu? Just ballpark. All right, Patrick's giving me 650. I think Lisa's on mute. Perfect. So 650. So Patrick, you're telling me that a 750 house has maybe gone up 100,000 last 2 or 3 years, 5% last year. Okay. So that's good news. Values have gone up. Yes.
Yep.
So if I move to Oahu tomorrow the first thing I would do and I'm not moving there, so you guys could do this, I would find every house that expired in 2017 or 2018. There was houses that were for sale in 2018 that never sold. Would you guys agree with that?
Of course.
Perfect. I'm going to call them. Ring, ring. Katie?
Hello.
Katie, this is Craig Rieger. I'm with ABC Realty. I'm a realtor right here in Oahu, and I wanted to call and share really good news with you.
Okay, what's going on?
I know you don't know me, but I'm just a happy guy, and I love sharing good news.
All right, what's going on?
I saw your property was for sale in 2018 for $625. You never sold it. Is that correct?
Correct, we still live here?
So it never sold. Nobody paid you that $625, right?
Correct.
I've got great news. I'm seeing properties in your community right now selling in excess of $675. They're selling for more money than you couldn't get just 2 or 3 years ago. If I could get you more money than you failed to get 2 years ago, would you consider selling this summer?
Yeah, definitely. That's amazing.
So it's an
Off
aggressive.
script, that happened to me.
Yeah, it did. You did have that happen, right?
Literally. I mean, yeah, like people who put it on, they forget about it, and it takes a phone call for someone to say, hey, you could be making even more money than what you even listed it at before. So.
And that was your rental house, I believe.
Yeah, a year later went up sold for more than $50,000. So, and I couldn't sell it for that the first time. So yeah.
Okay, so Katie asked me to talk about the letter. Lisa, I know you're on mute. Are we doing okay? We get a thumbs up on the value we're bringing? All right. This is a really, really cool tactic. We've had tremendous success with it with my personal sales team as well as the people we coach. It's called the letter. So Katie, you and your husband just signed listing contracts with me. So every one of you, hopefully, is somebody in the next month that's going to sign listing contracts with you. Does that make sense? Say yes.
Yep.
Perfect. Katie, you're my seller. Right before I leave your house, Katie, can you help me sell your listing? I kind of need a little bit of your help to get you the most amount of money possible.
Okay. What do you need?
Katie, we know that it's not uncommon that the buyer of your property is going to come from one of your neighbors. There's somebody that lives on your street that maybe likes your home better than theirs. There's somebody that lives on your street that wants their sister to live on their street. There's somebody that owns a house on your street, but they live in Oregon and they want their best friend to have a rental or investment property right next to them in Hawaii. It is not uncommon in real estate that the buyer comes from the neighborhood. Would you agree with that?
That sounds expected. Okay.
Here's what I know. If I reach out to them, it's like, hey, I'm Craig, I'm a realtor. Do you want to, know about Katie's listing? Most of them just ignore me. So here's where I need your help. Katie, I'm going to go to my local title company, and I love Fidelity National Title. They're the best. And I'm going to ask them to give me a list of the nearest 100 homeowners around your home.
Okay.
And Katie, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send them a letter, but the letter is going to come from you, not me. I'm going to write it on. It's just going to say this: Dear neighbors, I've just listed my house with Craig Rieger with ABC Realty. We're going to be hitting the market in about a week. We're listing at $700,000, and I want to let the neighborhood know about it first. If you know of anybody in the neighborhood, or if you know of anybody that would be interested in buying my home, please call my agent, Craig Rieger. Thanks in advance for your help. It's been great being your neighbor, Katie and Derek DeWitt.
So I don't have to write it. I don't have to do anything as a seller.
But Katie, the reason I want it to come from you is because when they open a mailbox and see your return address being right down the street from them, I guarantee they're going to open that before they open their power bill.
Makes sense.
That's what needs to come from you, not me. Does that make sense?
Yep, got it.
All right, so let's fast forward 3 weeks. We're in a great market. I just got you 3 offers, and I just got you $16,000 above asking. Are you a happy seller?
Yes, thank you.
Katie, congratulations on your 3 offers. I'm so excited and so happy for you and Derek.
Thank you so much for selling it overpriced. We love it.
Yeah, well, you got a great home. We all work together. Katie, I love your neighborhood. And I don't know if you've been reading the news, but there is 0 inventory, and I love selling houses in your neighborhood. Can I ask you for one more small favor?
Sure, what's going on?
Katie, I'd love to send a letter. Again, I'll do all the work. I just want to address it from you. And I'd love to send this to your neighbors with your permission. And here's what the letter would say. Dear neighbors, we just sold our house. We had 3 offers. It sold well above asking. I promised my agent, Craig Rieger, if he did a great job, I would tell everybody he did a great job, and he certainly did. And I just want to let you know that if you're thinking about buying or selling a home, you should call Craig Rieger. It's been great being your neighbor. I wish you all well, Derek and Katie. Katie, would you be okay with me sending that letter to 100 of your neighbors?
Yeah, you made me a ton of money. Absolutely.
And 97% of you, with the exception of Beth, hi Beth, 97% of you are not brave enough right now to let me see your smiling faces, which is totally cool. You're busy, or maybe you're at home, I don't know. But Beth, I'm making eye contact with you right now. If you sent out that letter every time you took a listing, do you think you'd get more offers, more listings in that neighborhood?
Absolutely. I actually have one coming up in about 15, 20 days, so I'm gonna do that.
Awesome. And Lisa, would you like us to send a template of those 2 letters to you and your sales team so they could provide it to any of the amazing people on this? Awesome. Okay, guys, I have 11 minutes left. I've been talking nonstop for 49 minutes. We are now at Q&A time. I gave you some strategies. I gave you some mindset. It is open mic time. Type in questions, stump the chump, get off mute and fire away at me. What do you guys want to talk about?
You also can challenge anything too, you guys. Like, we're here for you. Like, try to stump the coach.
Hi, Christine. Christine's a brave soul. She jumped on. I think Christine works for the title company, so of course she did.
Yep. I do have a question though for you guys.
Yes, ma'am.
When you had just mentioned your scenario earlier, how are you targeting those unsold listings that are sitting on the market since 2018, for example?
So the question is, there was a house for sale in 2018. It expired in July of 2018. How do I find them?
Yes.
3 ways. Number 1 is free, but it's labor intensive. I will scour the multiple listing. I will find expireds from a previous period of time, and then I will cross-reference they haven't sold since July of 18. Does that make sense, Christine?
Yes.
Number 2 is I pull out my visa. This is not an ideal method unless you're actually going to do the work, but you can pull out your Amex or your Visa and you can call up companies like RedX, REDX. You can call up companies like Vulcan 7. You can call up companies like Mojo, MOJO. And so you just simply call them. Katie, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Mojo, it's Craig Rieger. I'm with ABC Realty here in Portland, Oregon. How are you?
Good. What can we do for you?
Hey, some guy told me that you guys have access to expireds. I'm here in Honolulu, and I'm looking for expireds for all of 2018 that never sold after 2018. Do you have any of those you could find for me?
Yep. Give me your credit card. I'll send them over.
Perfect. So that's the second way to do it. You can hire companies like that and they'll send them to you.
And they'll scrub them too, typically, like for do not calls and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, that's a great question, Christine. Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
So great tips today, Craig. And the people that are on the call are a little shy, obviously, but we would like to hear back from you if you guys are going to use some of the scripts or if you need more information. We just designed this awesome stat report for Oahu that gives us more detailed information on each neighborhood. So if you want to use that as your first marketing piece, definitely reach out to your sales team. If you guys want to learn more about how to get coached up or how to get 90 listings in 90 days, I would definitely get back in touch with Craig for more information on that and how he can help you guys too with your business. He helps you, we help you, it's a win-win.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, I can give you guys a couple, thank you so much, Lisa. I can give you a couple more strategies. If you have questions, raise your hands, and if not, we can jump off in 3-4 minutes. What do you got, Kurt?
Hello, Craig and Katie. Awesome. You guys are fantastic. I just wanted to get your comments. You know, everybody uses all day. It's called social media. How is that important to your business?
Massive, massive. Right, there's two, if we just focus on like Facebook for a second, there's two camps, Kurt. One is our business page and the other is our personal page. Would you guys all agree with that? Most of you are getting and will continue to get zero business off your business page because the only people that have liked your business page is your mom and other real estate agents.
Yeah.
And I could teach a whole class on how to drive more people to it, but let's call it like it is. Most people on your business page are other realtors or family or friends. How we use social media in our business is it's our personal page. We've got 2 rules, Kurt. One is a 4-to-6 or the other is a 6-to-1 ratio. So for the people we coach, I say, Katie, you've got a beautiful 2-year-old. You've got a wonderful husband. He runs the SWAT team in Eugene, Oregon. You've got an amazing life in Eugene, Oregon. Would you agree?
Yep.
For every 4 times you post about your amazing life, or you post about the kitty cat, or you post about your Starbucks, for every 4 times you do that, the 5th time I want you to post something real estate related. That's a 4-to-1 ratio. Does that make sense? Now, Katie, there is no inventory in this market, yes or no? You're an agent, right?
There's none.
So Katie, the only thing you should be posting for the next 90 days is success for your sellers. I'm so excited for Kurt. I just helped him get 5 offers and 20,000 over asking. He's relocating to Miami, and I'm so excited. By the way, you're tagging Kurt in that. So who's seeing that post?
All of Kurt's friends, all of my friends.
And what are they learning about you as a listing agent?
I am the professional.
That got Kurt 20,000 over asking with 4 offers.
Yep.
So that's a really good post that I would do. I also like going deeper, right? People will be like, interest rates are low. So what? Interest rates are low, which means there's a bunch of buyers. So what? Interest rates are low, so there's a bunch of buyers, which means that they're buying homes from the sellers, which means it's actually an amazing time to sell. So most of my posts, or most of my team's posts, Kurt, are related around getting listings. We don't need any help finding buyers right now. Just like all of you, we need to get listings. So we're constantly showing the world that we're great listing agents. And then if you're less aggressive than a 4-to-1, then we just say a 6-to-1 post. So for every time you show your beautiful 2-year-old Katie, just do 6 of those posts before you do a real estate post. Make the real estate post number 7.
I think that's a huge common thing that agents forget to do is they start doing buyers and sellers. Like we need sellers, so everything can be manipulated to look for more sellers, and you're still appealing to buyers. So don't ever have that limiting belief. Just make sure everything's aimed at getting more listings.
For those of you, I think I'm pretty full on the friends category, but I think I've got an open page. Go to my page and you'll see a post my wife did about 6 days ago. And it said, it just was an inventory chart, probably very similar to something Lisa could put together. And it was showing we're at like 21 days of inventory. And my wife posted that on her page. And I'm looking at my cell phone, wow, which is frozen, which is amazing. Why would my cell phone freeze right as I'm trying to show you something? Well, long story short, my wife posted that 6 days ago, like inventory is low. A prominent attorney in Portland, his name is Glenn Barger. His wife, Stacy Barger, is friends of my wife and commented on it and said, wow, based on that, if you can get me 1.2 million for my home, I would sell it. All of this is on a post that I'm copied in a week ago, Anne-Marie and Craig Rieger. I responded back to them and I was like, hey, we should talk. They texted me an hour ago, said, come over and list our home. So Kurt, that's how we use it. Like we just put on there, inventory is really low. If you want to sell your house, you should call us. Glenn and Stacy Barger called us. Shocker. Isn't it funny how that works?
Right.
All right. Any other questions, comments, excitements, or concerns?
Awesome.
So hi, Craig. I have a question where I took a poll from some of the viewers today, and a lot of them had asked, what systems are being used, like the top systems are being used on a budget to get listings. So how do you find your A's, your B's and C's? What systems are you using? I know you have your coaching, but if you can give a pointer.
Yeah, sorry, I can't figure out who's talking.
Oh, sorry, this is Olivia.
Hi, Olivia. Thank you. Well, Olivia, I've given some systems. Are you touching your database twice a month? That's a yes or no system.
Mm-hmm.
Are you calling your database with items of interest, like a doggy daycare coupon, a bug extermination coupon? That's a system. And there's no cost to this, by the way. Are you sending out 2 touches a month? That's a system. Old expireds, as Christine asked me, that's a system. How do you find their phone numbers? You can dig for them yourself, or you can pay Red X or Vulcan 7 to sell you those numbers on a budget. That's a system. The letter, right? And I don't know where Beth is. There's Beth. That letter is a brilliant system. If you take a listing, why would you not send 100 letters to the neighbors in the seller's name saying, hey, if you need a great agent, call my agent. They just got me 3 offers. That's a system that's virtually free. It's the cost of stamps. Another thing we're doing a lot of here on the mainland, Olivia, is we're calling people that bought a house 6 years ago and a less expensive home. So maybe a $400,000 or a $500,000 home 6 years ago. So Katie, when did you and Derek get married?
4 years ago,
4 years ago. When did you have your baby?
3 years ago, 2 years ago,
Okay, and when did you buy your dream home?
2 years ago.
Oh, so wait, you got married 4 years ago, you had a baby 2 years ago, and you bought your dream home 2 years ago.
I
Whoa.
fall right into the generic stats.
Isn't that weird? So, and by the way, if all things are equal and God willing, do you plan to have more kids?
Absolutely.
So what I want to do is I want to call people up. So Lisa, if I called you and I said, hey, Lisa, can I get a list of people who bought homes in this area under 500 about 5 years ago? Would Fidelity National Title be able to help me find that list of people?
Absolutely.
Then I'd call
Yes.
them ring. Katie?
Hello.
Hi, it's Craig Rieger with XYZ Realty. You don't know me, but county records indicate you bought your house about 5 years ago.
Yes, I did.
I've got great news. Your house has gone up a solid $50,000 to $100,000 in value. I don't know if you've got any needs for a bigger home or a different home, but if you do, it's an exceptional time. Interest rates are low as a buyer and values are high for you as a seller. Knowing that, have you thought about maybe getting a bigger home?
Yeah, we were just talking about it.
And I'm not saying everybody that bought a $400,000 house 5 years ago has since had babies, but in most markets, there's a demographic of first-time buyers. And in most markets, those first-time buyers like Katie, 2 or 4 years later have a couple kids. And also economically, they might have done well in their career and they can afford that next level of home. So Olivia, that's my next, is I love calling people that have been in their home for 4 to 6 years that bought starter homes 4 to 6 years ago. And again, as we just shared, we can get that list from your amazing company. Those are all systems, but I guess what I would leave with, most of you are not using your database on a high level. And if you just had a database and touched people twice a month and talked about listings in your database, I think you'd have plenty of listings just off of that. So why call people you don't know? Why don't we start with touching the people we do know?
Yes. And by the way, just for people who get overwhelmed like I do when I'm hearing not like pull these stats and know this information, first of all, you are the real estate professional. You should know this information. And if you don't, pay your admin to go figure it out for you. So if you're going to work on, you know, what percentage went up in the last 3 years and you're going to get that list, your admin can pull these things for you, just so you know. So
Right.
you can show up Monday morning with a list of people, a script with them saying, hey, I did this number, this percentage, and then now you have 400 people to call for the week.
Amazing. All right, well, let's leave with this. There is Miss Katie twice, once on the screen and once live. Katie is our go-to for anybody interested in a free coaching consultation. Our coaching average is about $12,000 a year. And at the price point you guys are all at, one closing pays for the coaching. 3 closings, you're profiting $24,000. I'm pretty sure with 45 calls with our coaching company a year, we could help you close a lot more than 1 extra house a year. So if you're interested in a no pressure consultation, Katie's email, her cell phone is below, text or email her. If you'd like some extra scripts and some things that we have, because we can only cover so much in an hour, text Katie. She's got our 20 favorite scripts she can send you at no charge. Yeah, so there we have it. Take a screenshot of that, or Katie put it in the comments. Lisa, there you are. I want to thank you, Kurt, Christine, Olivia. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for letting us spend an hour on the islands with all of you. And if we can do anything for you in the future, it'd be our pleasure. I hope we brought you some value.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
Thank
All right,
you
thanks,
guys.
everybody.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right, take care. Bye.
Okay, bye.